Professor Dr. S. Gauri is the Director of EMRC of UGC and also Professor in the Department of Manufacturing Engineering, Anna University. He is the recipient of the National Award for Outstanding Academic 2011, honored by the Indian Society of Technical Education, New Delhi in 2012. He has previously been the Registrar of Anna University of Technology, Chennai. He received BE in Mechanical Engineering from Tyagarajar College of Engineering, Madurai, MTech in Production Engineering and PhD in Precision Machining in IIT Madras. He was awarded for his PG work, project work in IIT Madras. His main areas of interest are technical education system development, precision machining, rapid prototyping, FEA, biomedical engineering, medical image analysis, and shape memory alloys. He is a life member of ISTE, AMM, and SME of USA. He has been awarded with fellowships of research work done in surface engineering by NSF USA in 1992 and by NSTB Singapore in 1997 to 1999. He is a visiting faculty in India and abroad in many colleges and universities, including Nanyang Technological University, Singapore, Technical University, Weingarten, Stuttgart, Germany, and taught nanotechnology. He has traveled many countries, including Germany, UK, USA, Netherlands, Singapore, Spain, Switzerland, Malaysia, Brunei, and Australia for his academic works. In addition, he got international travel fellowships from UGC, AICTE, CSIR, and DST. He has successfully completed several projects in India and abroad. He has offered technical consultations in India and abroad to MNCs such as Sony of Japan, Pratt & Whitney of USA, GE of Singapore, iGel of Australia, and also to Railways Coach Factory, Chennai. He was a member of the Technical Expert Committee selected by DST to participate in the Indo-UK Manufacturing Engineering Colloquium held in January 2012. He headed the International Joint Project on Virtual Laboratories on Mechatronics, a real-time web-based project with partners from Julius Maximilian University, Würzburg, Germany, and the University of Madrid, Spain in 2005. He is holding an international patent for the work done in micromachining during his tenure in Singapore. He is a member and director of several Tamil Nadu government advisory boards.
In this lecture, we will study about the iterations performed in simplex method, and we will know how to check whether the solution obtained is optimal or not. Now, let me move to the next technique called simplex method. The simplex method is based on set of theorems and how a solution is obtained by different mathematical iterations. But however, we will follow the procedure here and solve the given problems. Now, for the simplex method, this problem is to be written in the standard form, then we will discuss how that can be solved. Usually, we prefer the method for a 3 variable problem, but let us start with the 2 variable, then move to the 3 variable problem. How can this be made as a perfect equality? X1, yeah, slack variable is to be added, x1 plus s1. Similarly, here 2x1 plus 3x2 plus s2 equal to 19 plus x1 plus x2 plus s3 equal to 8. And for don't write about them. So, this is a standard form, and similarly S1, X2, S3 should be written here. So, the objective function can be rewritten as plus 0 S1 so, the new objective function is subject to the 3 equations. Please note, all the inequalities have been written as perfect equations. If the constant is of greater than or equal to, then that should be minus S1, minus S2, minus S3. Clear? And in the problem, if the equation itself is given, then you can directly take it without writing any surplus or slack variables. The slack variables are introduced when the constraint is less than or equal to. When the surplus variable are subtracted when the constraints are of greater than or equal to, where S1, S2, S3 again are greater than or equal to 0. That is another assumption. Then only we can add it here. Then only we can subtract it in the other type of non-negativity. If this condition is not satisfied, then this is not satisfied. You cannot write like this. Now, we should start with this problem from a starting solution. To get a starting solution, there is a one we call basic solution, basic variable, another is non-basic variable. Once you get the value of the basic variable, you say we get a basic solution. When you get non-basic variable, it is a non-basic solution. What is basic, what is non-basic? When there are set of variables given, if we assume any of them equal to 0, please note we assume, truly they may be 0 or may not be. For the purpose of computations, we assume some variables equal to 0 and find out the values of other variable, just like the graphical technique. If x1 is 0, what is x2? We plotted, no? So, at that time when you assume x1 is 0, that is non-basic. After that, when you get a variable some value, that is called basic. Like that, we identify what are basic and non-basic. Now, in the given problem, how many equations are there? Forget about this. There are 3 equations. How many variables? x1, x2, s1, s2, s3. There are 5 variables. There are 5 variables and 3 equations, subtract it. 5 minus 3? Good. That means, we can set any 2 variables equal to 0. In the beginning, you can put any 2 variables equal to 0 in order to get a starting solution. In order to get a starting solution. And generally we say, if there are n number of variables and m number of equations, then we will put to be equal to 0. If there are n minus m number of variables and there are m number of equations, then we can put n minus m number of variables equal to 0. Just like that, there are n number of variables 5, m number of equations 3, n minus m equal to 2. We can put any 2 variables equal to 0 in order to get a starting solution. Now, what are the starting solution, or which are the variables we can set equal to 0? So that we will be able to get a starting solution. How many variables? There are 5 variables. We assign any 2 variables equal to 0, you will be able to get a starting solution. Starting solution means a variable equal to this much. If we say S1, S2, for example, if S1, S2 equal to 0, what will you get? If S1 is 0, x1 equal to 6, very good, and S2 is 0, we get 2x1 plus 3x2, 19, and x1 plus x2 plus s3 equal to 8. We do not get the solution, only one we got it, remaining 2 places we get still an equation. So, this choice is wrong. Similarly, the next one, S2, S3 equal to 0, what will you get? If S2 and S3 are 0, x1 plus S1 equal to 6, 2x1 plus 3x2 is 19, x1 plus x2 is 8, still an equation. Like that you find out different pairs, combinations. Finally, we will come to know if x1 equal to x2 equal to 0. If x1 equal to x2 equal to 0, what do you get? S1 equal to 6, S2 equal to 19, S3 equal to 8. Yes or no? You get a starting solution. Please note, this is only a starting solution. This is a feasible solution. Is this optimal? We do not know, but we know it is not optimal, but truly it is maybe optimal or not, we do not know. So, unless otherwise if we reach optimality, we cannot judge we have reached optimality, we got a solution. But apparently it looks it is not optimal. How? How does it apparently look? Yes?
We have to find x1 and x2.
They are the decision variables. Don't say essential, they are the decision variables. You please imagine immediately into a product mix problem. x1 may be a number of toys of A, x2 may be a number of car toys B. And if x1 is x2 0, you are not producing anything at all. No production activity, no mixing. We may say the loss is 0, but no activity has taken place. Until last year, the company was incurring 20 crore loss, this year no loss. Why? We put big Dindigal lock and no activity is taking place like that. We can't say like that. Unless otherwise you enter into the activity, perform, you cannot say whether you got profit or loss. So, at this stage x1 is 0, x2 is 0. In the graph, where are we? Origin, very good. We are in the origin. The graph, please note, we are in the origin where the x and x1, x2 axis meet the point. We are in the origin. From origin we will move. Yes or no? We are moving from the origin. Maybe along this direction or radially away from the 0. So, but still this gives a solution, feasible solution. It satisfies all the constraints. We put this value x1, x2, 0, we get everything. S1, S2, S3, we are getting. That means this is a feasible solution, but not a promising feasible solution. And here S1 equal to 6, S2 equal to 19, S3 equal to 8 means what? In a product mix problem, for example, this is the man hour, this is machine hour, this is number of material requirements. No active taken place, so all are slack, they are still available, ready to available, please use me, like that, you start activity. Clear? Good. Now, with this as a starting point, we will move. We move from graph from origin to some point, but here we are never going to use any graph. We are using a purely a mathematical table. In a mathematical table, from one point to other point, how we will move? We are very clear this is not optimal. How this non-optimality is indicated and how an optimality can be identified. What is the indication of 2? That we should know. Then only we can move. We can boldly say, no, this is not optimal, let me improve it. For this, let me draw a table. Please note down x1 equal to x2 0, s1 equal to 6, 19. Please note down this. Now, let me draw a mathematical table. Before that, let me rewrite maximize z. What is the value? 5x1? 7x2 plus 0 s1. What is the value of s1? 6. s2? s3? Okay. Then, since everything is written in the equation, this should also be written as an equation. Okay, this is obtained by 3 different equations, no? That you know, that I don't rewrite. And this should be rewritten as an equation. How will you write? Forget about this. Z minus 5x1 minus 7x2. Since it is 0, you can forget it, equal to what? Or you can write 0 s1, 0 s2 plus 0 s1 minus 0 s1 is immaterial, equal to what? 0. Z minus 5 minus 7, and a neat table is to be written as basic solution. The values are here S1, S2, S3, S1 is 6, S equal to 19, S equal to 8, and here the values of basic variable given variables x1, x2, s1, s2 and s3. Please write down all the variables given in the problem. Basic, what are the variables here as a basic? What are their values? Solution column. And the first row is a Z row. Here the coefficient is just as if I am writing minus 5, below that minus 5 x1, 7 x2 minus 7, they are not existing, 0, 0, 0. For this the value of Z equal to 0. And what is in the given problem? What is the coefficient? X1 less than or equal to 6. Am I right? What is the coefficient x1? 1. Right. Is there any x2 in the first equation? No. 0. What is the coefficient of s1? 1. There is no s2, there is no s3, 0. What is the second? 2x1, 3x2, s1 is not there, s2 equal to 1, s3 equal to 0. And third one, x1, 1, 1 x2, s1 is not there, it is 1. Okay. So, this is a starting table. When the starting table is like this, in graph it is the origin. The graph 0, 0. When the x1 is 0, x2 is 0, you get s1 equal to 6, s2 equal to 19, s3 equal to 8. It is a table which is equivalent to the origin in a graph. The graph in the origin we put a point 0, 0, and that is represented in a mathematical tabular form. This is equivalent to the origin in the graph 0, 0, where x1 is 0, because how do you say x1 is 0? By putting x1, x2 0, we got it. So, these are the basic variables. At this stage, s1 is 6, s2 equal to 19, s3 equal to 8. They are the basic variables. What are not here? x1 is not here, x2 is not here. That means they are non-basic. The non-basic variables are 0 and basic variables are 6, 19, 8 like this. Now, this is not optimal, 0, 0, the graph is not optimal. How will you find out this is not optimal? A simple way, you come to the Z row. What is the Z row? Objective function. Here it is minus 5, minus 7, 0, 0, 0, 0. In the case of a maximization problem, in the Z row, if any of the coefficient is negative, any one, at least any one of the coefficient is negative, the solution is not optimal. That is the meaning. But still it is feasible. It is a feasible solution because it satisfies all the constraints. But that is not optimal because here minus 5, minus 7. If at least one minus is there, then that is not optimal. Then now you may ask, sir, you brought everything from the right to the left, that is why it is minus. If I kept direct itself, it can be positive. Yes or no, you may ask. Yeah, it can be done like that also. This can be done either this or that. You can keep in the right hand side itself, till if you write, the condition is reverted. If anyone is positive, then the solution is not optimal. But instead of that, we bring it to the left hand side. In some books, they keep as it is. Right hand side, they say, if any one of them is positive, that is not optimal. But when it is positive, not optimal does not look nice. The logic or this, what can you say? When you say it is positive, good. When it is negative, improve. So, to have that sort of philosophical word, we brought everything left side. So, we say minus 5, minus 7. So, the solution is not optimal even though it is feasible. Please take down. The non-optimality condition is obtained from the negative coefficients in the Z row. That means, if any of the Z row coefficients is negative, the solution is not optimal. In this problem, the Z coefficients are -5, -7. So, the solution is not optimal. We have to improve them. Again, there is an indication among the negative coefficients. Pick out the most negative to improve the solution. That means -5, -7, which is the most negative? Yeah. Please note down, we are not talking about the which is bigger. -5, -7, which is bigger? How many say -5? How many say -7? Since nobody says, I also accept. So, -7 is the most negative, not the which is the biggest one, most negative. In true sense, what is -7? It is +7. So, most negative is you have to take it. You take down the most negative. Take down most negative means, since this is not optimal, I am going to improve the solution by starting some activity. I want to produce some toys. I want to make use of the resources. Once I make to resources, what happens? That resource, that point, that particular toy or particular paint will be produced in the next stage. That means that will come into the picture here. Until that, x1 and x2 are 0. Once you start making either x1 or x2, then the x1 will occupy in any one of the places. Then hence, the z value will be raised from 0 to above. We want 0 to above, that is optimality. Yes or no? So, it will be reversed. Now, the question is which toy to be produced, whether x1 type or x2 type. That is why we put x2 -7. -7 is actually plus. That means, by selling 1 unit of this, you get 5 rupees profit. By selling 1 unit of this, you get which one you want? That is all. That is the one we put most negative. You are ambitious, no? So, no sir, I am happy with 5. No, you may be happy with 5, but your examiner will not be happy with you. No, the examiner wants you should improve your solution. He wants you to get more profit, like that. So, instead of 5, you go for 7. Nothing wrong even if you take 5. What will happen? After one iteration, you will come back to that. You have wasted your time. You have gone in this direction, then come back, then go the other direction. That is all. So, initially you identify. That means, I am going to produce x2. That means, here the x2 is absent, next x2 is going to enter. That means, this is called entering variable. x2 is the entering variable, x2 enters. Yes or no? We are going to produce the x2 type of toys. So, x2 enters. Good. The next iteration x2 enters. When the x2 enters means x2 will occupy here. But for that we cannot write s1 after s2 after s3, you cannot write x2 here, because how many constraints are in the problem? Only there are 3. So, since these have not improved the solution, you kick out one fellow from here. You are of no use. You are making noise. Please leave the class, something like that. The fellow should be asked to go. Now, which fellow is critical? Which fellow should be kicked out so that we can accommodate x2. The x2 should be written either here or here or here, so that the solution will improve. So, how to find out? That means, once x2 enters, any one of them will goes off. That means leave. We do not say going variable, we do not say going variable, we will say leaving variable. Once this fellow enters, the other variable should leave. That is called leaving variable. How will you identify the leaving variable? Is simple. Find out the ratio solution divided by entering variable column number. That is the ratio. That means 6 divided by 0. 6 divided by 0. The other one 19 by 3. Other one 8 by 1. What is 6 by 0? Infinity. What is 19 by 3? 6 1 by 3. Don't put decimals, you put in fraction itself, or you can put this one 8 by 8. So, these are the ratios. Infinity 6 1 by 3 8. Once you find out the ratio, pick out the smallest positive ratio. Among the ratios, pick out the smallest positive ratio. Which is the smallest positive ratio? And that is corresponding to S2. And you mark this. That means this is the leaving variable. This is a leaving variable. The leaving variable is identified by the smallest positive ratio between the solution column and the entry variable column. Whatever be the one, the smallest one, that is the one. What is the smallest positive ratio? What I ask you is, you solve the problem by graphical method. You come with that graphical solution next class. When is the next class? Friday. Yeah, we will meet here. Then I will explain to you what is the significance of the smallest positive ratio from the solution what you obtain. You will have a better understanding. Okay. The smallest positive ratio. That means, in the next iteration, x2 is going to occupy the place of s2 and s2 will leave. That means, x2 becomes a basic variable and s2 becomes non-basic variable. It goes out. We are starting production of that. This is the entering variable column, this is a leaving variable column. Some people mathematically call this as a key column, and this is called key row. This is called key row because they are very important here. And the number at the junction of the key row and the key column, how will you call? Any suggestion? Huh? The number at the junction of key column and key row. Key number. Somebody said? Yes. Key number. Very good. Key number. Here the key number is, what is the key number? 3. The number at the junction, key number is 3. Because using that 3, some people call it a pivot number. This is called pivot column, pivot row. This is pivot number, because that used as a pivot, all the operations will be done, or use that as a key, all the operations will be done. So, using the key number, key variable, key row and key column, we move to the next iteration. And the next iteration, we will rewrite all the elements, all the coefficients what I have written in the using some formula. Then again you check whether that is optimal, whether that x2 has improved the solution, and if it has improved the solution, we will check whether it is optimal. If it is optimal, stop. If it is not optimal, again see which is the entering variable, which is the leaving variable, and check whether the optimality could be achieved. Like that, until you reach optimality, we have to go for the iterations. Let me summarize from our discussion that from the key row and key column, a key number can be identified. From that, new rows and new columns can be evaluated using the Gauss-Jordan principle of elimination. Once you get it, again a variable will leave and in its place another variable will enter, and this process will continue until you get an optimal solution. Let me ask you some questions. The question number 1, how is the new key row estimated? The second question, how are the other numbers in the remaining rows and columns in the new table are estimated? The last question, what is the reason or why it is called as key number?